Okay, today I want to pick up where we left off yesterday, so I've already connected to the server, and I'm going to open up my art folder. There's art, and remember it was the artist practice that we were working on. So there's the document that I'm working on, so I'm going to go ahead and close that for now. And remember we left off by filling our whole canvas with the Starry Night. The next tool that we're going to learn about is going to be this tracing tool that you see at the bottom of that, up here, right down here. But before we do, what we're going to trace is this moon, and in order to get a really good view of the moon, we need to make our canvas larger so we can isolate the moon, so we can do a good job of tracing. So right down here at the bottom where it says 100%, I'm going to go down and I'm going to enlarge it to 300%. And then I'm going to have to use my scroll bar to get over to the right hand side of my paper, and of course I'm going to be up at the top where I can see the moon and get a good view of the moon. And then I want to trace around this moon so that I can make the shape of the moon, and then we're going to look at filling it with the different options that we've learned about. So I'm going to go to my Shapes tool, and I'm going to go down to the bottom to my Tracing tool. And then I'm just going to begin clicking. It's just like taking a little pencil, and I'm just going to trace around. But I have to do it in little steps because it's round. It's not a square where I could just draw 4 straight lines. It's round, and I want to include all the little curves. So I'm using little strokes. And the idea is to trace all the way around it and to stop on the last dot that you started with. So in order to make a complete shape, it has to be one continuous line. If I make a mistake, for example, like that, I can always go to Edit on my menu bar and undo, or the Command Z to undo anything that I didn't want to do. If I need to undo things, it's Command Z or Edit Undo. Okay, I'm going to continue to trace. Now I got a little bit of a point there, so I'm going to do Command Z back to that part where I can then round this up a little bit. I think I'm going to go back and do a little bit better job, get them a little closer so it's round instead of pointy. So I just did Command Z to undo. But I'm working my way around my moon. And notice when I get back to the dot where I started, do you see the little white circle next to the ink pen when I've got my ink pen and it's not on a dot? But if I click on my starting point, I have a little white circle. That's telling me that I am actually at the starting point, so I can go ahead and click on it, and it makes one solid shape. And you're going to see a little blue outline, and that's telling you again it's a shape. And if I click on that line and move it, see, it's a shape that is just floating. It's a layer that's on my canvas as it is. Now I'm going to go back to the 100% so I can see the whole image, and we're going to talk about filling that with the different options that we have and what we've learned. So I'm going to use my Inspector tool, and I'm going to just look at the different options. I'm going to look at color fill. Well, white's kind of cool, but what other color might go along with this? So again, this is a personal choice for you. It's just kind of what you might do. And then again, I can look at the gradient fill. You might want to do that, or even the advanced gradient fill. I think I want to try and do shades of yellow. So I'm going to just pick maybe and see if I like that. So again, it's just something that you might want to play with. And then the last thing I want to look at is possibly the image fill. And remember, we have the two options. We can do it through the image fill, or we can drop our moon on there. Well, I'm going to try both and see which I like best. So I'm going to put that moon that I have in there and see what it looks like if I do it that way. And I don't think I really like that, so I'm going to edit, undo, and then I'm going to go ahead and close my inspector tool, and I'm going to try it with my picture by dragging it into that shape. So I'm going to go to my art folder, remember ODM, to my folder, to my art folder. I'm going to find that same picture, and this time I'm going to drag it on top of that image and see what I think. And if I double click, it's huge back there. So if I make it smaller, I might get it just the way I want it, or I can use that little slider, remember, and then put it kind of where I want it. I think I'm going to try that, so I'm going to click away. And it kind of feels it kind of cool. So again, it's going to be up to you. I'm going to undo. Now, if you don't like the mask fill, you're going to have to undo it until you get it back to a colored shape, or otherwise you'll have to retrace it. So if you decide that you don't want to use the mask, you're going to need to go to that edit undo tool to get it back to something that you like. The one thing I don't like is I don't like that big dark black outline that's around there, so I'm going to go ahead and open my inspector tool and remind you that I can take this line off, or I can change that color under stroke. So I maybe like the yellows, but I don't want a line on it. That kind of softens it. Or maybe I want a line, but I want it to be in the yellow family. Okay? So again, it's a personal preference. Now remember, okay, that's a way to draw your own shape and fill it. Up until that point, we used the shapes that were here. Now we've created our own shape, and I've filled it with an advanced gradient. So that's a personal choice. Now I want to go back, and do you remember those other things that we have behind our Starry Night? We're going to go ahead and look at those again. So I put my Starry Night on the front, so now I'm going to send it to the back. I want to move this whole canvas to the back because it's a layer. It's like a sandwich, and it's laying on top of my circles right now. So under Arrange, I'm going to go to Send to Back. And now my canvas has been moved to the back. I want to undo that and talk about it just one more time, because you want to make sure that you are clicked on your canvas. You should see your handles right there. So that shows me that I've selected my canvas. I'm going to Arrange, Send to Back. And now everything that I have done is in front of my canvas. Now I only want one of those circles visible on my screen, so I'm going to actually delete all of these circles except for one. So I'm going to keep this blue circle, and I want to put a picture of Van Gogh in this. Now I am going to actually use it as a mask in this instance, so I'm going to go to my art folder, to my art folder, and I'm going to drop that picture of Vincent van Gogh on top of that circle. And then, so I'm going to do it just like that. Now, right now, I think I'm just looking at a portion of his beard, but remember, I'm going to go ahead and close this window. I can double click on that and edit that mask so that he gets much smaller. And I can actually fit him in that circle. Just like that. And I like that. It kind of blends in with my background. But if I want to outline around it, I can go to my inspector tool. Where there's a stroke, it says none. I'm going to put a little bit of a line around it, maybe a little thicker. And I think I need to move I'm going to double click and actually shift my canvas up a little bit. He wasn't round. There we go. Okay, so now I have a picture of the artist on my canvas. a shape that I drew and I filled it with an advanced gradient. The one thing I don't like is where his name is and perhaps the color. It's hard to read, so I might move it somewhere near my picture. And let's talk about changing the color of that text. This is something that we've done previously, but hopefully you'll remember. If I highlight it under the T tool on my inspector, so if my inspector's closed, if I click on my inspector to the T tool, under color and alignment, I can pick a different color, maybe one that goes a little bit better with my drawing. And that's going to complete the assignment almost. We're going to talk about locking and unlocking something. Once I get my canvas where I want it, maybe my moon shape where I want it, I can lock it so that those things don't get bumped. So I'm going to go ahead and lock my canvas because right now I can move my canvas. Do you see how it moves? I'm going to undo so it goes exactly where I had it before, and I want to lock it. Under Arrange, I can choose Lock. And now I cannot move that canvas. Now keep in mind I can still move my moon. Okay, so it's not locked. So if there are things that you know you have them in place and you want to lock them, you can go to Arrange, Lock, and they don't move so you don't make a mistake accidentally. Now the other two things are floating because I might decide that I want to put those in a different spot. Again, it's really up to you. And that concludes the lesson for today.